Hey everyone, hope all is well. Listen, thank you so much for coming on to the King Job Show. Listen, I have the opportunity of having a wonderful guest on today. Had a chance to talk to him. Wanted to just give a disclaimer to the show that I'm being very biased, just seeing both sides of this. And I have reported on this story before, and I've been very, seeing both sides. And so, after talking with the family of the Matthew Rushins, and I also talked to the Cusicks, I'm very biased and everything. And I think everybody should be very understanding to what all is going on. So while we are so willing to attack, let's use our brains and let's try to have a clear understanding to what's going on while we are attacking individuals. Because if you do not know the whole story, I'm guilty of it, I've done it before. If you do not know the whole story, then you're just running with one side. I mean, we've all done it before. And then we find out, what really happened. Some of us just get quiet and don't say nothing. And some of us just end up doing stupid and looking stupid anyways. But again, I've given up. I've given my disclaimers and everything. As you guys come on, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also follow me on Twitter, YouTube, subscribe on the YouTube. Also remember, you all can join the YouTube page. It's right there. They've made it available. Join the YouTube page. And also remember to, like I said, subscribe to the Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And you all can support the show by hitting that Cash App button. Thank you so much. Also, guys, we're getting ready to go on with my guest, Greg Cusick. He is a wonderful guy. I got a chance to talk with him all last week and everything like that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to Mr. Greg Cusick. How are you doing, sir?
I am good. Good. Nice quiet morning.
Yeah.
Especially outside. No one's out.
I know you're in New York, and I know it's still kind of cold there and everything.
It is. It is not too bad. Global warming appears to be real. It was quite a mild winter.
How are you guys handling the COVID-19?
So far so good. We have everything we need for at least a couple more hours. Probably, hopefully, longer than that. But like I normally don't panic and get scared, but it's a little. I don't know. I'm apprehensive. Oh shit, what's gonna happen? But
Right.
it lasts us at least a week. We don't live in the middle of nowhere, so we should be okay.
Okay.
And how about yourself? Are you ready for a long hunker down?
I just went shopping a little bit today, and I can honestly say the roads are very clear. The grocery stores are packed. But I think everybody's trying to do last minute shopping because they don't know what to expect. I think there is a great deal of fear that is going around and everything of that nature. So there's a big deal of fear going, across the world.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I said, normally I don't buy into panic, but still, this seems a little different.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of that, I wanted to jump right into your story. And we got a chance to discuss and talk about it and everything like that. And I knew that individuals were really attacking you and picking on you. But we're not going. I don't want to hold you too long because I know you have a family, and with the crisis and everything that's going on, really have to make sure your mom is okay, your dad is okay, and your kids and everything. So, your dad was in a car accident recently, not too recently, but recently enough, and it was involving a young man by the name of Matthew Rushin. I believe I'm saying that right. And he was charged with attempted murder. Correct.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to voice, what's going on with you and your family, because apparently you're being attacked for this, and you honestly didn't do anything. I mean, your family is one of the families that's suffering in this whole matter. And I wanted you to give a chance. I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak because both sides are losing. No one's winning here.
Both sides, exactly. There will be no winner. And I guess my hope is justice. And that's it. I can say I hope for justice with a period at the end of the sentence because I'm fairly certain, well, I am 100% certain what happened. I've seen a lot of evidence that, you know, leaves no doubt in my mind. So I can hope for justice and let a higher source than me, because obviously you can't let the victims decide justice. It would not be too fair. And you can't let the other side decide that justice because they wouldn't be walking free on the streets. So
Right.
I'm very comfortable with a higher source than me, hopefully someone smarter than me, deciding justice because, you know, everything I've seen from physical evidence, witness accounts, past behavior points to the fact that on January 4th, 2019, Matthew Rushin drove headfirst into my mother and father's car in a suicide attempt. And, you know, like I said, the evidence I've seen, there's no doubt in my mind because Matthew Rushin, he may be a nice kid. I don't doubt that. He has a lot of people that say how great he is. I'm sure he is great until he's not. He suffers from mental health issues. And from what was revealed in court by the Russians' expert psychologist, a criminal psychologist, I'm sorry, a clinical psychologist. That's how he introduced himself. He has severe mental health issues, and he's prone to losing it. There's got to be a better term, but losing it. And he loses control, and he's impulse driven. And it seems like he got into a minor car accident, fled that scene, had a panic attack, and decided he no longer wants to live, turned around, drove headfirst into traffic, and hit my parents' car head on. Now, you know, the other side claims it was an accident. He lost control, but that doesn't explain facts that were introduced in court and not disputed by his family's lawyer. That now the DA, this is what he said, that at the time of impact, Matthew was traveling 65 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He did not apply the brakes once. He undid his seatbelt, and he took his foot off the gas about a half a second before impact. And that's what the DA introduced. And he said it was from car computer data. I did not see the car data myself, but it was introduced. It was unchallenged, and that was brought up in every court appearance.
So it was unchallenged by his attorneys and
exactly.
the prosecutor as well.
Exactly. So I can comfortably say that that is accurate,
okay.
Because any lawyer would say, well, I mean, they see all the evidence too, so they know what was presented against them. If there was no forensic evidence, they could have challenged it, and they would have had to get expert witnesses and who knows how, you know, but it was unchallenged. So I feel comfortable believing that. Now, that does not indicate losing control of your car or getting out of control. And of course, I heard this. This was in an article or a post, I believe, by Matthew Rushin's mother, who said he lost control of his car for about 400 to 500 feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long way to have the gas pedal floored without hitting the brake. Mm-hmm. So that does not, a losing control does not sound likely. And that's just one part of this. So that forensic evidence, the physical evidence of exactly how the crash happened and, you know, what was the source of impact makes me think, oh shit, okay. That does not sound accidental. He was on the wrong side of the road for a long period of time. And then after that,
So with that being said, because I'm like I said, I'm seeing both sides of this. I get the family, and they're saying that he was not given a fair trial, he was not given justice or anything like that. And I understand that because our legal system is, to some extent, to a lot of extent, set up just like that. But my thing was, I get that part, And I think that needs to be the focus. Coming after you guys and attacking you all is not the focus, because your family suffered a great deal because your dad is a vegetable.
He has not recovered even 5% of his mental or physical capacity, and he never did. And Mr. Rushin's mother has said lies otherwise that are beyond hurtful and beyond not true. Just the other day, I should not be watching this because it brings out darkness, and I have to thank someone for setting me straight on that as well, but I don't want to bounce around. But just Monday or Tuesday night, she had a live podcast because she's gaining support in her cause, and that support is not getting the right facts. But she said, and she said, and I watched this for like literally 2 or 3 minutes. So 2 or 3 minutes, this is what I heard. But that my mother told her, we all know it was an accident, and we forgive Matthew and we pray for Matthew. She said, those are the words my mother spoke to her. And that is a knife in the heart to me, because it's not true. And B, everyone listening, what kind of a dirtbag lowlife would willingly send someone to prison over an accident? That is a low person. She is saying, Mrs. Rushin is saying that my mother is the low life, bad enough to send an innocent person to jail over an accident because of vengeance. That is what she's saying with that statement. And we never thought he was innocent. We heard from witnesses on site. I remember driving down midnight on the night it happened, knowing what had happened. I could be wrong because that was a very strange weekend. I could be blending hours into that. But that day, Saturday the 5th, we knew what witnesses saw, and we knew that that Matthew Rushin got out of his car and said to several witnesses, I was trying to kill myself. We knew that January 5th, 2019. So there's no way we ever thought this was an accident. And there's no way we prayed for Matthew. I was a little angry and bitter, but we didn't have to pray for Matthew. He walked away. He did not need prayers. He was okay. And it's bitter that we don't pray for Matthew, and we don't want to hold an axe to grind. We can safely say we want justice. I don't want him beat up or dying in prison. I don't want that. I want justice by a higher source, and I'll be comfortable with that. And I think he got it. We would like him to get more jail time, but we can't decide that because like I said, the victims can't decide justice.
Right.
Okay. The Wild West days.
So this is my thought, just because I talked about this before from their perspective, and I got a chance to talk with you, and I heard your perspective on it. And just looking at this, even looking at this car right now, this is your parents' car, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and I'm gonna take this now because I know that might be a bit much. Seeing this, it was, I would say, on a regular day, we would say it's an accident, because anything could happen. Somebody could just happen to just look down at the floor and just boom, run through a light. Boom, there it is. But after hearing the story that the young man, hit and then I think turned around and came back, it was just a lot of stuff that was being said. It's like, okay, you know what you're doing, but then something snaps upstairs, just a lot of stuff just pops off. At the end of the day, and I heard what you said, at the end of the day, both sides are losing. Well, both sides have lost. The Rushins have lost a nephew, a son, a brother, whatever. He's gone away because he got behind the wheel and to some extent shouldn't have been. Somebody should have been there with him. You all have lost because your father is a vegetable. Your mother is still dealing with injuries. And if I'm correct, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Aren't you guys spending like $20,000 a month?
The numbers are in that range. Insurance is covering, well, like the way it works, and we're facing lawsuits as well. So this is all up in the air, but we're $2 million in the hole. I kid you not. And the healthcare costs $20,000 a month. I believe that's the number, in that range, definitely. My father's income, he has a pension. That is all. Everything my father owns now belongs to the state. My mother had to move all assets out of her name into a trust, which may or may not protect their assets because they are being sued, or we got the notice that the government is coming after us for the money. Now, there are legal ways to protect yourself, and everything was moved into a trust, but it's not ironclad, and like the loss already has been great, you know. Like my mother had to put everything in a trust, which means she now owns nothing, and she has to live on I believe only her pension, you know. And they worked hard. They worked, and you know, like they were loving retirement, and that was taken away.
Wait, Greg, $2 million?
That is the last number I heard, and that was probably about a month ago. I heard $1 million sometime last year, so I'm not surprised at all. Now again, I haven't seen these numbers with my eyes, but this is what my mother said, and she would not be lying or exaggerating to me. But yeah, the numbers I've seen. I mean, like I believe the stay in Virginia Beach alone is over $1 million. I mean, he was in intensive care, surgeries left and right, brain trauma. His arm. This is what a doctor told us, by the way. This is not a doctorly term, but his left arm and shoulder were obliterated. That's the term the doctor used. I was like, that doesn't sound like a term you should be using to the patients. Obliterated, but that's what happened. His left arm was destroyed.
So again, let's just make sure we got these facts correct. This accident that was caused by this young man, again, we just stating the facts, looking at what's going on, because you guys are being accused as the bad people. Some of those comments that were on your status, this evil white man, this, he needs to go to hell. How could you do this? How can you put him in jail? This young man caused this accident. He walked away with minor injuries, but caused this destructive accident. And you all are being faced with all of this because of something that he caused. And he is not even getting what they said it was 50 years or something like that. He's not getting that.
Well, I think, you know, obviously, this is the objective me. I try to be objective as best I can. No one can be, but I do try. But I think this sentence is fair because he got 50 years, which is the max or above the max, whatever it is. I believe it's the max because they have guidelines. Of 40 of those years are suspended, which means as long as he does not commit more crimes or violate the sentence, he's going to spend 10 years in jail. Of those 10 years, he can get up to 15% credit, good behavior, and time served as well, which means he could be out in like 8.5 years of jail time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already served about 1.5 years, a little over a year. And the thing is how he's not a bad kid, you know? Like if he doesn't have any incidents, if he's on his medication, he should be okay. He'll probably be on the street in 8.5 years from January 4th. He has 50 years suspended, though, which means if he violates the terms or commits another crime, he's back in jail for the whole 50 years. And also part of the agreement, which his parents should have imposed this on him long ago, he can never drive again.
So now, with that being said, because I want my audience to understand, and I want other people who are going to watch this and other individuals who are also discussing this to understand. Your father, who was driving, correct?
Yes, correct.
Did not cause this accident, correct?
He was driving. My mother's had about 30 miles an hour. I didn't even know they were going that fast because it happened right after a red light, and they accelerated from a stop. But she's had about 30 miles an hour in a straight line on a straight road with no turns, no bends, no lane changing. So he was driving straight. He was driving properly.
Okay. Your father did not cause this and was it collided into by another car that was just going through a light or a stop sign or whatever and was hit
on the wrong side of the road.
On the wrong side of the road.
He was driving head on the wrong side of the road. Now, this is how my mother describes what happens, because she remembers most of this. But like they're at a stoplight, and of course this also comes up in the court as well by others. But they were at a stoplight, and then in the left turn lane, a car, they believe Matthew Rushin, everyone believes it's Matthew Rushin, barrels past them in the left lane, speeds past the entire traffic and goes straight. So, like they're at a light and he blows past him in the left turning lane and continues straight. And my mother remembers saying, boy, oh boy, he must be important to just, fly past traffic like that, And then, they start to accelerate after the light. And about seconds later, 5, 10, 20, I don't know, my father says, what the heck? My mother looks up and sees headlights and just, bam, the car is hit head on. And
so they must have tried to weave out of the way and couldn't because it's hit on the side.
Well, my father turned the car to the right, and he didn't turn it much because you can see where it's hit. It was hit head on, but it was hit head on the driver's side light because my father turned, put himself right in the line of fire. By the way, I mean he turned right, putting himself right in the line. He took all of it. My mother would not have been able to survive a head-on collision. If my father turned left, my mother would not have been able to survive what my father has.
Yeah, he took. So, what was he hit by?
Excuse me?
What kind of car was he hit by?
I believe 2008. It's a Chevy Tahoe. I think.
What kind of car is this?
That's a Ford Explorer, and the other car was a Tahoe, Chevy Tahoe, the big, huge truck.
So let me further just, I'm gonna leave that up, and I want to just further talk about this part. The backlash that you're getting from this should not be directed toward. It should not even come towards you all, because you all are the victims of an accident or of this car wreck. I'll say that.
Thank you.
You all are the victims of this car wreck. You didn't cause it. You didn't do anything. Did you all know Matthew Rushin before this?
No.
So you all didn't know this young man at all. So his family and other individuals are blaming you all for something that, one, you all did not cause. Two, you had no knowledge of who this young man is. Three, you have other individuals who are creating controversy around this and directing the foolishness toward you all when, again, you didn't even cause this.
That is true.
You all are being sued, which I'm still trying to understand why. You all are being sued for around $2 million.
Well, we are $2 million in debt, over the medical bills.
Medical bills. Okay.
We've gotten notices from the government, the city, I believe, maybe the state, the city, the federal government, whatever it is. My mother has the notifications and all that stuff that they will come after us for that money. That's where it's at now. So there's no court cases yet, but we've gotten a notice that they want money. And there's so many different bills that we really don't know what will up. And there is a very good chance that insurance and my father's income will be the one who has to pay all the bills. And sadly, anything that's above my father's income will never get paid. But there's also the chance that in order to protect herself, and this breaks my heart, my mother will have to divorce my father. 51 years married, 52 years in January married. And she's going to have to divorce him or lose the house and lose all her savings and her pension. It's that bad. I mean, I told her, just let the money go.
All because of this accident.
All because of this. Yeah. And, you know, and of course, what can we do about that? You know, because it's not like, I mean, you know, like my father needed the treatment. These doctors and staff and facilities have kept him alive, and helped his body heal. You know, and they have every right to be paid. You know, those facilities weren't built for free, and they're not run for free. You know, and it's a lot of money to get the treatment that he requires. You know, but that's just more stress in my mother's life, and like literally her life now is dealing with bills and problems and visiting my father. She spends like 5 hours a day every day except Thursdays when I'm around with my father, and and he's not there. And anyone who says otherwise, and I've heard them say otherwise, I'm going to say your words that her mother said. It is a knife in the heart. But she said in the 2 minutes I was watching a broadcast, maybe 3 minutes, on a Tuesday night, this is what I heard her say, that the Cusick family has abandoned their father. She used those words. She said that my father was riding a bike and talking, and he was on the way to recovery until we abandoned him. That, just when you think it can't get worse, she throws that out there. We abandoned him. He was on the way to healing until we abandoned him. That, what do you even say to that? And part of me, and by the way, I think this last week it really hit a head and it kind of reset. Because I'm like, yeah, this is just ignorance, lies, and not truth. And no one who does any research will believe it.
So they're constantly, and again, this is not at them, because I understand that they're hurting or whatever the case may be. But the direction of this is directed at the wrong people. You all did not cause this at all. You all are being attacked ultimately because of this, and this is being pointed at you as if you all did this, and you all did not. You all just driving, and you as being the son. Maybe I need to backtrack with this. How do you feel? Because this is what needs to be talked about. How do you feel about these attacks that's coming at you? And just us discussing this even right now, how do you feel about these attacks that are coming at you and your father and mother being involved in a car wreck, not an accident, a car wreck? And one, your father did not cause it. And two, that your father and mother are being depicted as evil people because of a young man that's in prison because of an accident that he caused, whether unstable in the mind or whatever, unstable in the mind, he caused the accident. Your family is in debt. Your father is in a vegetated state. Your mother is still broken up, and you guys are having to pay, looking at $2 million in debt, and having to pay $20,000 a month, I believe, in bills because of this. How does that make you feel?
Well, the personal attacks literally mean nothing to me, because they're coming from people who don't know anything about anything. Like they mentioned my divorce, and it's like, yeah, you weren't there and you're totally wrong.
They're mentioning your divorce?
Yeah, exactly. Like my wife hates me and left me because I'm abusive, and I kid you not. And that's beyond not even remotely accurate. So that means nothing. Like other statements mean nothing.
Yeah.
The attacks on me mean nothing because it's from someone with an agenda who doesn't know me. That means nothing. The stress my parents are under means a lot. The loss of my father to such a great degree means a lot. The
Now,
fact
when
that
you say loss,
Mhm.
when you say loss, kind of expound on that because he's not technically dead yet. I don't want to. I don't want to put that on you, but
I
he's
know.
not.
So yeah,
Yeah. I don't want to say that. I'm sorry. I'm
I know.
so.
I understand.
I don't want it to come off like that. He's not deceased, but he's not there.
He's not there, and you know, like like when the grandkids walk in the room, he smiles. So there's something there, that recognition. He would always smile at the grandkids. I mean, they were the light of his life. So he always smiles. That's still there. There's something inside, and we hope he keeps healing and there's more to come, but he can't talk. He has said words before. Yes, no. Actually, I don't know if he said no. He said yes. He said sentences before, like it's nice outside. We're talking maybe in a year, 20 sentences, words rarely, like you ask him a question and he mumbles sometimes, and you wonder what he's trying to say because like we get up close and it's mumbling, it's not words, and we don't know if he's trying to talk or we don't know what he's trying to say, So like the man he was right now is not there at all. We get the smile on occasion and we get nods and yeses on occasion, but for all intents and purposes, he is not there now, and we have hope. It's been a year and 2 months. We have hope that there's more to come, because the brain injury he suffered was extensive. And, we have hope, though. It takes a time to heal, but like anyone who says he was riding a bike and waving and smiling is a flat out liar. And B, they weren't even there. I don't know how they even got this information that he would have been in rehab and all that stuff because they were putting him on an exercise bike where he sits down and they attach his legs and his feet and then they run it themselves just to get him moving. He did do that, but he did nothing on his own, and it's not like he was running an exercise bike like you and I would. So that kind of information is like, where'd they get that from? Because part of his rehab, and they stopped his rehab, by the way, in like last June or even May because he wasn't making progress. So that's why they canceled all rehab because it was a waste of their resources. And we argued with them extensively. We did not abandon my father. We argued with them extensively to keep him on rehab. And they just said it's not worth our effort because he's not making progress.
So my next question is this: where were you when you got the phone call that this had happened?
I got the call at 10:20. We had my son, my daughter, and I had just gotten home from ice skating, and probably about 20 minutes to a half hour later, the phone rings and it's my mother, and my son. Answered the phone at the time. He was 10. He walks in and says, "The Graham's on the phone. She sounds sick." So I pick up the phone, and my mother's like, "Greg, hello, listen." And she tells me that there was an accident. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what happened? Did he make a left turn? Did someone run a light? Was there a mistake? And she's like, Dad's in the ER. I'm hurt. Come down here when you can in the morning. And I was like, okay, I'll be down. And, I called, I called my ex-wife and I said, hey, I have to leave in the morning. Let me drop off the kids. She says, yeah, sure. Bring them over. But about a half hour later, my mother calls me back and says, you have to leave now. They don't think Dad's going to survive the night. So at 12 o'clock, I hop in the car and start driving down to Virginia Beach. And, right from day one, we were never alone. Because, like my, probably one of the best person I know, my girlfriend Cindy, I called her, told her what happened, and said we were leaving in the morning. And she, and she was there, and I called her back a half hour and said, look, I'm leaving now. And she said, I'm driving down. I'll drive with you. So she drove down from the Bronx, met me, and we both drove down. We left at about midnight, I think a little after midnight. And I don't know what started this. I think I'm just telling you a story of that night. And I recall my mother knew that it was a suicide attempt, because I remember knowing on the drive down what happened, because a witness on site helped my mother and was there with her in the ER from the entire time almost. And that's, and that's another lady who I owe a lot to. A Chaplain Brown, owe a lot to. She was there with my mother, and she told my mother what happened, and she was there when my mother and father were still stuck in the car. So she was there from the beginning, and she witnessed the scene with Matthew Rushin and how he was behaving. She actually said he was drunk. That's how he was behaving. He wasn't drunk, but he was like erratic and ranting and raving and screaming. And he said he tried to kill himself, his words, in front of several witnesses. And so yeah, I mean, like that night at midnight, I'm leaving for Virginia Beach, hoping my father's not going to die on the drive down, And, we got there, and, he was alive. I didn't even know what to expect, because if you see how, like how things look in the movies, like everyone's in a body cast, and, you're expecting that. And I remember thinking, he looks good, like his left side of his face and body were completely covered. That's where the impact was, and that was destroyed. But his right side, I'm like, that's my father. Okay, maybe he'll be okay.
So he's destroyed.
Yeah. Well, his arm, yes. His leg, yes. His hip were destroyed. His head still has a divot in his head. He has like a divot like this in his head, like as if the bone was crushed in. This part was okay though, because like what the impact looks like, he went forward, and the car, the stanchion went like exactly right there. Because he has a divot. It's still there. A year and a half later, he still has a divot in his head. And his arm, he can't move it, but I think physically he's mostly healed. Like if his mind could say, get up and walk, with extensive rehab, he'd be able to walk, because he can move, he moves so little, but I think that's because his mind isn't saying move. And it would probably take a year rehab to walk again. But if his mind says, I want to walk, I think he'll be able to walk. Always need a cane, and maybe can't walk far, you know what I mean? But if his mind heals, we think he'll be able to at least move around and enjoy life. He'll never drive, he'll never travel, But that's if his mind recovers, and so far it hasn't happened. And by the way, I know this call's been long, so I have to say this before your time ends and my time here ends, but my father's life was saved by someone. And this story is going to be hard to get through, but this person, his words and his actions hold tremendous weight with me. And I don't like mentioning others' names because I don't know what, like anonymity, whatever the word is, that they want. But his name is Daniel Ramos. He saved my father's life because Matthew Rushin plowed through my father's car, knocked it across the road, and slammed headfirst into the car behind him with enough damage to pin the wife in the car. I believe she suffered minor injuries. I heard a broken bone, I'm not too sure. But she was pinned in the car. And the guy had his chest slammed into, he thought he was having a heart attack. That's a car behind my parents. That's how fast he was going. But Daniel Ramos was on the street and he heard the accident. He didn't witness it. He heard it. And he looks over and he sees the wreck. And he goes running over to help, a stranger, by the way, Daniel Ramos. and he sees everyone's around Matthew's car and the other car, and no one's around my parents' car. I believe he said that he thought no one knew that my parents' car was involved because it was not so far away from the accident. It was across the street. So he runs over to my father, and my father is slumped against the steering wheel, not breathing, with blood pouring out of his nose and mouth. And the Daniel Ramos, he's from the Bronx. And God, I hope I don't cross a line and say things he doesn't want me to say, but a friend of his was shot. And his friend was shot, and his friend was unresponsive, bleeding, and he lifted his head, and his friend started to breathe again. Sadly, his friend did not live, but when he lifted his head, he came back and started breathing. So when he saw my father slumped over at the steering wheel, not breathing, blood pouring out of his nose, he lifted his head, and my father started breathing again.
Wow.
So Daniel Ramos, that's a name I make sure my kids know it. I tell them from time to time that, remember the name Daniel Ramos, because he saved Pop's lives. And there's no doubt about it, because, that's my phone ringing, by the way. It's probably going to ring for 20 times. But, so yeah, I want to make sure that name and what he did is out there, because, he's a hero to our family. There's no way to thank him enough. How can you thank someone who did what he did? Why did he do it? Because it had to be done. Because it was the right thing to do and a life was at stake. That's why he did it. There was no reward, no glory, no justice. We didn't even know his name until the first court hearing where he was a witness. We had no clue what he did. He didn't seek glory or thanks, or he did it because a life needed help, and he helped. And my father's alive because of him. My father has a chance because of him. And I can't say enough about him. And also, and again, Daniel Ramos helped me out Tuesday night, because, like this last week was pure hell. It just came to a head dealing with Mrs. Rushin's lies, and people are jumping on the bandwagon for the wrong cause, was really getting to me. And it was kind of aggravating the hell out of me. And I just texted a Daniel, and I said, do you have any doubts as to what happened? And he responded, and he calmed me down, and he said to me, you should let it go. People know the truth. They know what happens. People who do research will know what happened. Like, whatever his words were. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said, you have to let it go. People will know the truth. And he said, what would your father want? And I said, thanks. That's exactly what he would want.
Exactly.
He wouldn't want me just banging my head against a brick wall, which I truly feel I am banging my head against a brick wall, and I know it. And I don't think the Russians' words and their platforms mean anything, because they're not based on accurate facts. So they're not going to go anywhere, But it still hurts to hear lies being told. But, Daniel helped me again on a Tuesday night, and, a weight had definitely been lifted off my shoulders. When we spoke earlier this week, you and I was in a different mindset than I am now. Like, then I was like, I have to speak about this bullshit and lies and challenge. And now I'm just hey, what happened? Let it go, because the opinions of people, I guess, who are denying the facts, what do they mean? Because there's not going to be a fact presented that disputes that this was intentional. All they have is smoke screens and misdirection, and lies that cannot be proven because they're lies, And, I think just hearing from a Daniel, who he holds a lot of weight with me. His opinion and his words hold a lot of weight with me because of what he did. And the fact that, like the opinions that, I don't want to say opinions that matter most to me, but the opinions that hold the most weight are like the neutral ones, because Daniel does not have a chip in the game. He's not on my side. He's not on the Russian side. He's not on the police side. He's not on activist side. He's on the side of make the world a better place, which is the side we all should strive to be on. It's easier to say than do. It's a challenge, the world we live in. But, like he's on the side of do the right thing. His words hold a lot of weight. Your words hold a lot of weight because you don't have a chip in this game. You're not my family member. You're not the Rushin family member. You don't want to further your cause. You don't want to damn anyone because something similar happened to you,
Right.
Neutral
Right.
opinions hold the most weight because that's where you get the truth. Like my aunts and uncles and cousins and friends will be like, yeah, you tell them, Greg, you're so right. Even
Now,
if I'm
with that being said, one thing and even talking to you multiple times last week and talking to you again recently, I've never heard you in our conversation. Uh, um, I've never heard you talk down about this young man. I've never heard you give any racial slurs about this young man or anything because people will use that. People will say, oh, he's racist or he's this or da 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 da. The only thing that you said, I just want justice for my father and my mother. That's all you said. Even in looking at some of your posts and things, it's never been anything derogatory. Like I want this son of a SOB to da da da. It's never been that. It's just people are taking this from what I'm just paraphrasing from what I've seen. You've just said people are taking this and spinning this, making their own narrative, and really slandering my family. My family has not done anything, but my father is at a loss. My mother is broken up. We owe umpteen amounts of dollars because of this. And to see people corralling around this as if this young man didn't do anything, it was like you said, it was just disgusting because it's like he caused this situation and you all are acting as if he's innocent. Yes, he's a young black man. He has some mental issues and all of those things like that, which we get it. We get it. But this young man caused something that had a damaging effect on your family and another car of people. So my only thing with this story is let's get the facts. Let's take the truth. No one wants to see their family member go to jail. No one wants to see that. And at the same time, no one wants their family member to be living on life support either. No one wants to be suffering with almost $2 million because of medical bills and insurance. No one wants that either. So as I said in the beginning, no one's a winner here. So just like they're doing a GoFundMe for a lawyer, that's their family. That's their family. If you guys feel that he's right or he needs to be out of jail, do that. Hey, do it. That's your son, nephew, uncle, cousin, brother. Do that. I'm with you. Do it. But just like you're doing a GoFundMe, this family has a GoFundMe as well. And they need your support. They need your help because, again, they are suffering greatly. This young man still has the activities of his limbs. He still can breathe. He still can get around. But this family is suffering greatly. And my prayer to you, Greg, I just pray that at some point that there's some kind of healing, solace that can come to you and your family, because I know that this has affected you all greatly.
Thank you. It it has. It's like it has. Like just the other day, my son. This is just like my son said to me, like I asked him, is anything wrong? Are you okay? And he just says, well, I forgot what he said, but he said, like, like I would normally have talked to Pop about this. Because he used to always confide in Pop, you know? And, you know, we have an awesome relationship, my son and I, my daughter and I, we get along great. And, but he would confide in Pop. And he lost that. And all these great memories they had, I'm glad they had 10 and 12 years of these great memories, but those memories now are tainted. Not tainted, but every time you think of your great memories with Pop, that sadness, what happened to him, is going to be hanging over those memories. And he took that away from 6 wonderful grandkids. Matthew Rushin took that away with his choice. And, no matter what spurred on that choice, because I do not doubt at all that Matthew Rushin suffers. I do not doubt that. He has that. I do not doubt that. He has severe mental health issues that I wouldn't wish his life on anyone. Like I wouldn't want him to suffer. His family has to live in terror.
But see, that's big of you. That's big of you to even say that. I mean, that just shows the humanity with even in you, Greg, that even though you are dealing with trauma and hurt and more than likely some rage because of this, you still have enough humanity to say, I don't want this young man to suffer.
Well, like I don't, and of course I don't want to be that judge either, because, like I said, you can't let the victims decide the punishment.
Right.
It would be ridiculous, and it'd be Wild West if you're lucky, The Purge if you're not.
Right.
And of course I don't trust my wisdom. Actually, I kind of, like I don't want to be the one to dictate punishment. Like I had a jury duty once, and the guy was facing 3 strikes and you're out, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's going to jail based on my decision. And luckily, I was not chosen for that jury.
Right.
But this guy over crimes that are crimes, robbery, breaking and entering, and stealing from, like he was a jewel thief, I think. Broke into a jewelry store for like the 3rd time and got caught. But I was like, shit, this guy's life is in my hands. Because I wouldn't. Like I am. Like I want justice in the world, and I don't want to say my justice or it should be this. I want justice and a better source than me to decide it, because I don't know what's best. And and like even if you were to look at the lowest of the lowest criminals and see the life they've led, you'd be like, oh, that poor person. That's horrible. But yet, if you inflict your pain on others, there has to be justice, there has to be laws, and there has to be consequences, and I would hate to be the one to decide these consequences. It's like the death penalty. Do I support it? I can't, because I wouldn't want to be the one making the decision, but you hear about the heinous crimes that happen and you're like, well, they earned it. And even as they say that, the alarms in my head say, I don't know where they come from. And that's like the complex of justice. Like, what is just? Vengeance is not just. Letting someone walk away just because they're sad and have a reason for what they did is also not justice. What is justice? And
Greg, I can't hear you.
Okay. And the thought of the Matthew Rushin stuff, I never said I hope this and I hope that. It's justice. Because I could comfortably say with a period at the end of the sentence, I want justice. Not for me, not for this, and I want him to pay. I want justice. And like I always thought, like you hear all the time, if I was in the room with that guy, kick his head. If I was in a room with Matthew Rushin, I would look at him with disgust and be like, ugh. And that would be it. There would be no, I'll kick his ass, and it'd just be disgust, like, ugh, what you did. And there goes the phone again.
Your phone is ringing.
they did. But I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I know you're busy, so I don't want to hold you up and everything. I just wanted you to get an opportunity to share and to tell, your side and everything. And if it's not so much, I just want to just pray a quick prayer with you and just say something, because again, you all need healing. Both sides need healing. This is something that it was traumatic. And I really, my heart goes out to you all, and my prayers go out to you all, because it's not fun when your father is laying there, and we were talking about this. Your father is in a nursing home, correct?
Yes.
And you guys can't see him, correct?
We cannot. They
Because of
shut
the
it down Friday
coronavirus.
night. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because
Wow.
he cannot say I'm hurt. He cannot say I'm hungry. He cannot say anything. He's at their mercy. And and the nursing home staff has him and how many hundreds of others like him. What attention can they give all these people by themselves? And nurse, nurse, nurse. They're going to get attention because they can advocate. My father is at their mercy. That's scary.
And because of this coronavirus, your father is in a nursing home and you all can't go see him. You all
No,
cannot go touch him. You all can't go hug him. You all
no.
are, you gotta, it's like you have to watch him through a window.
Yeah, a window on the 8th floor that we can't even see into.
Oh my God. He's on the 8th floor.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be rough, but obviously it's the right thing to do because coronavirus would probably wipe out at least half of that nursing home. They couldn't survive that virus. I know my father couldn't. He had a cold or the flu like a month ago. Maybe he already had the coronavirus actually, but he almost died like about a month and a half ago because of the corona. I'm sorry, because he got sick. He had a fever like 104 that wouldn't go away. So we thought we were going to lose him that weekend, but he's tough as nails. What he's been through. He got hit in the head with a backhoe once. A true story. Luckily, he had a helmet on.
wow.
But yeah, he's been through a lot. But he's tough as nails, and he survived. And he survived this, and we hope he comes back. And another count him out. He's a guy that generated nothing but goodwill in this world. He used to help strangers. And I remember one time I asked him, I don't know the exact question. It was along the lines of, why do you help people? He had helped like a lady on the side of the road change a tire. And I go, why do you help? And he said, I help because if you or Dina, my sister, ever need help, I would want someone to be there for them. That's exactly what he said.
So
He made the world a better place.
I just want to, and I'll follow up with you a little later. I know with this, and I hear your phone buzzing, and your phone has been ringing off the hook, and I know you have your kids and things. I just, like I said, I want to thank you for just the opportunity to just allow you to share um, with the world what is going on, because you're suffering in a multiple of ways. You and your family are suffering in a multiple of ways. And I just honestly, at the end of all of this, and I know, as journalists or people who vlog and stuff, we don't normally do this, but I pray that God just restores your family. I pray that God restores both sides. This is traumatic for both sides. Um, it's hard to, you shouldn't wish ill will upon people because you don't want it to come back on you. And I have not heard you do that at all. And I hear your heart is broken. And I mean, no one wants this, you know? And so I just pray that you guys are one able to see your father really soon because you need to be able to check on him. Honestly, you need to be able to check on family needs to be able to check on family, especially during this time of crisis. But I just pray for reconciliation, peace, and love, and just light and good energy sent you all's way. And I don't know what religion you are, but I believe that there's a God up there that looks high, that sits high and looks low, and that He loves His people, regardless of whatever. He loves His people, and I believe that He loves your father, and I believe that in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion, if he doesn't get healed on this side, he'll be healed on the other side. That's as honest as I could be, you know. And so I pray. I might as well go ahead and pray, but I pray that all is well really soon. I really.
Thanks. I tremendously appreciate that. It means a lot, and it just means a lot because like we had a lot of support, and that was helpful. Family members stepped up, strangers stepped up. And I so much appreciate you stepping up and taking the time to just hear the story and read about it, and make your own decisions, and not be vengeance minded on one side or he should walk free on the other side, and just like let the truth out there and realize everyone is suffering. I wouldn't wish what happened to the Russians on anyone.
Right.
Like justice needs to be done, and I think their son faced justice, pled guilty, and he received justice. But like I wouldn't wish 10 years in jail on anyone.
Right.
That is, jail does not make anyone a better person. It just you survive in hell for 10 years and hopefully can get back into a life when you're out. He'll still be young if he really a great kid, as great as his family I think he is. He'll be 30 years old to make a difference, and to be the person they say he is. And if he and if he's not, if he is dangerous, then he will break his parole and he'll be back in jail. So he'll have his chance, and hopefully he'll make good on his chance because do that. From what I understand, that cannot be appealed. So it's not possible to appeal it because he waived the right when he pled guilty. So he's going to see the 10 years minus 15% of good behavior type stuff. And then I'll have the rest of his life to make good, and maybe, I mean, I don't know what would happen if he admitted to us and said, look, I did it on purpose. I'm sorry. That holds a lot more than it was an accident. I'm sorry. Because when you say it was an accident, when there's no evidence to back that up,
Right.
Quite the contrary. Everything that comes after it means nothing. It's like, please believe how great I am means nothing. Please believe I made a mistake and I'm sorry and I can't take it back holds a lot more weight.
Correct.
But either way, though, I just hope that, this hits a point where everyone involved can be at peace, and then I guess come to grips as best we all can.
So I just, again, I want to thank you. And let me just do this really quick. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to have a moment to just share with each other and to just get this side out and to just make clarity on what has been going on, what has been said, what has been done. We ask you for your grace and mercy in this situation. And we ask for healing, restoration, and love in this. And we just bind up all strife and confusion and let love, peace, and your grace abide. In your name we pray, amen. Greg, I just want to honestly thank you for, again, allowing me to bring this thing out and to have you to share. This has been very eye-opening and very, I know it's like almost like peeling a Band-Aid back for you because you got to relive this again. And I do apologize. And I'm gonna let you go because I know you have a lot to do. And what I'll do is I'll call you later on this evening, and I'll just check on you and see how you're doing today. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I tremendously appreciate your time, and I tremendously appreciate the well wishes and prayers. It means a lot. It keeps us going. It gives us hope, and it keeps us it keeps us even too. Hang on, okay. I'm back, but like we need to like we need to focus ourselves and not be involved in what the other side is saying. That's just what they're gonna say.
Right.
And the opinions of those that like aren't on either side mean a lot. Your word carries a lot of weight, and the words of Daniel Ramos carry a lot of weight, mean a lot to us. So I tremendously appreciate you, and thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm gonna talk to you a little later. Okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to hang up. Hopefully I can.
I got you.
Thanks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, listen, I hope you all truly have enjoyed this morning's show. This has been quite interesting, the outcome of what all has been done and said. And as I've always done on the King Jive Show, is bring forth facts and truth. Sometimes we get messed up along the way. And, my job has always been to help people and to do my best doing that. No matter what comes and no matter what goes, there are always going to be people that want to bring about chaos and confusion and dissension. But there's always a way to bring things right back together again. And I'm so very grateful for this. And I really do appreciate it because this is what this was today. This is an opportunity to make things better and right. And for the people that are out here saying negative things, for the naysayers and all of that stuff like that, this is why. We have to get the correct information. And we're all guilty of it. Everybody who is in journalism, we're all guilty of it. We've all done wrong and everything. But the beautiful fact about it is when you know that you're wrong, you can admit you're wrong and move on. Listen, if you are new to the King Jive Show, make sure you all hit that like button on the video, thumbs up or a heart, and also hit that subscribe button. You can somewhat, follow me on the Instagram or whatever the case may be. I want you guys to have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember this. I'm on the winning side. Everybody, let's go, son. Everybody say, I'm on the winning side. All right, so it's good to be on the winning side, okay? I want you guys to have a wonderful day. And on that note, we are out.